So I already popped these loose with my breaker bar. It really wasn't that difficult. Like I said, sometimes they're frozen, they're rusted or whatever. So we're just going to take these off. I'm going to leave this one tight. That'll be the last bolt I take off. Okay, so now that I got all the bolts off, let's see what this dirty gear oil looks like. I've had Zoe for about almost 5 years now, and I've never changed the rear axle oil on her. I know, shame on me. So I'm going to put one up on the top so that the whole thing doesn't just come crashing down on me. And I'm just going to crack this bottom here. Easier said than done, right? There we go. It doesn't look very clean, does it? Here's a look at the inside of the pan of the cover. A little bit of sludge buildup and gunk. I'm gonna have to make sure there's no shavings or anything in there. And then I'll put my bolts back in here so I don't lose them. So stock Chrysler 8 1/4, 354 gears, open differential, no traction device or whatever. One thing I forgot to mention, I do have a lube locker gasket that I'm going to be putting on here. I'm not going to reuse the ATV silicone. It's kind of messy and I don't feel like messing around with that right now. So it'll make future gear changes a lot easier too. You're able to reuse the lube locker gasket multiple times. So, and it's funny because I found those on Amazon and they were on sale for the Dana 30 and the Chrysler 8 1/4. They were only like 10 or 12 bucks each. So I had to jump on that. But I don't see any metal particles, no shavings or anything. Come here. As long as I don't drop my phone in the gear oil, I'm good, right? So yeah, it's pretty dirty, so it's going to take a while to clean this thing up and get it ready to get resealed. I'm going to use a power drill and not a steel wire brush, but a plastic nylon brush, and maybe it'll clean up the surfaces. I mean, they look pretty good now. I just don't want to scratch it or mar it, so that the lube locker gasket will seal up pretty good. So, be right back. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention, I jacked up the rear axle and I blocked the front tire so it won't roll back at all, but I'm on pretty level ground, so it shouldn't be too bad. But I wanted to jack up the tires so that I can rotate the differential as I'm cleaning it. The wear pattern on the teeth look pretty good. I don't see any chips. I don't see any weird type of a wear pattern. It's kind of hard to see, but the pinion gear in the back looks normal. The cross shaft still looks pretty good. I don't see anything abnormal with this right now. So I don't know if you're able to see the seat. Yeah, you can see the seat clips in there where the axle shafts are held in. Like I said, I don't see any scoring. The wear pattern looks good. The pinion looks decent. I don't see anything that should be a cause for alarm right now. I don't think anything needs to be addressed. Just clean it up button it up, add the gear oil, and we should be okay. So, okay, enough talk. Let's try and get this thing finished up. I'm gonna clean this housing first. Okay, I got done cleaning this thing. It went pretty quick. The only thing that I had to do, I had to get the good old trusty razor blade out and just take off some of the bigger globs of ATV that dried around the edges. But as far as everything else, I mean, that little nylon abrasive brush worked out pretty well. Took a lot of the stuff off real quick. Just be careful that you don't scratch up the mating surfaces here. That way that the gasket seals. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it one more time with some cleaner. And then I'm going to show you the lube locker. So here's the lube locker. It's part number LLR C825 for the Chrysler 8 1/4. I also have one for the front Dana 30 once I changed the gear oil on that one too. So give me another second. I still have to put the oil plug inside the solid cover. I want to make sure that everything works out fine before I start filling it up. If you have any problems with the oil filler, you better address that first, otherwise you have no way of filling up your differential. It'll run dry. You know, obviously you don't want to do that. So, all right, I'll be back with you guys in a second. Okay, so here's the differential cover, and I've got the lube locker held in place with a couple of little bolts. So I'm just going to carefully place it up there, start a few of the bolts in, and the bolts help to keep the lube locker in place. So let's see if I can do this without without getting frustrated, screwing anything up, losing anything, knocking anything over like that. Yeah, this sucker's a lot heavier. A lot heavier. Well, I tell you what. Yeah, this sucker's heavy. Tell you what. Let's try something different. It's awkward and heavy. Okay. I'm not a big fan of these Allen head bolts that they give you. I don't know if I'm gonna end up keeping these or not. So I'm just going to try and hand thread these just a little bit.
What is that thing you're putting in there now?
I was recording, Grandma.
Oh,
So, sorry about that. my grandma came out and wanted to check up on me and make sure that her grandson was okay, and she and she wanted to know what is that thing that I'm putting on. So sorry for the little interruption, but hey, this is real life, right? It's nice to be loved. Anyways, I got the lube locker on. I'm not real thrilled about these Allen head bolts because sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't. Can't get a lot of torque on them. But I tell you what, instead of boring you with all this, that's what it's going to look like once I'm done. So one thing I did do with your fill hole right there, I put a little bit of anti-seize on there. Not too much, I didn't go crazy with it, but just enough to stop the rust. It'll make it a lot easier to fill. You know, it won't make it real difficult to remove and install every time you need to service the differential. So I don't know about these Allen head bolts. I might just go back to the stock bolts if the heads will clear. They look nice, but sometimes the Allen heads have problems with keeping their torque. They could loosen, you can get leaks, stuff like that. I could put a little bit of RTV on the threads of the bolt themselves, since I don't need it on the lube locker gasket, but we'll see. I might do that. So thanks a lot for watching. All I have to do is just take out my fill plug and fill it up with gear oil, take it for a test drive, and that's that. Hopefully I'll be re-gearing these axles sometime this year. We'll see what the budget looks like after tax time. So anyways, guys and gals, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.